Hey, and welcome back to the History Makers Leadership Podcast. My name is Daniel, and I'm incredibly glad to be joined again by Drew. Drew, great to have you here today, man.
It's good to be here.
Yes, sir. Drew, we've been talking through transition, but what I'd really love to do is kind of think for just a moment on some really just some specifics here, some specific moments. There was a quote that I saw earlier today, and so I'm going to read it for us. Leaders' reliance on their own high performance is the single biggest reason that employees don't grow.
Yeah.
In the midst of transition, man, you mentioned you lead in a church context. Your church has gone from 100 to 600. That's transition, brother. Like that is not a small shift. Figuring out how to discern or determine that delegation process, that delegating down authority and decision making, figuring out all of those elements is an incredibly difficult process for so many leaders. What has that been like for you? How did you see that in your kind of 3 years of this exponential growth? What have you learned in some of that process?
Yeah. I think, initially getting saturated with you're now the lead pastor and like, okay, I've got to make all the decisions. I've got to choose everything. I got to be the one in charge. I got to run small groups. I've got to run this. I've got to run kids. It was like, all right, I've got to have my fingerprint on it if it's going to go well. And quickly realized that I only have so many fingers, so that doesn't work. But what I started to do was just notice people. So we went from 100 people. We had myself and one other person on staff part-time.
Okay.
And then we had an intern that would come and help, on Sundays, put up chairs, all the important things that get overlooked. But I started to just notice, hey, even with 100 people, I just want to notice people in their elements.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I did previous to being a lead pastor, same church, was I oversaw the kids and youth. Well, I went back to the kids and youth area, and I was able to see these two wonderful leaders that have been doing kids ministry for 30 plus years as volunteers. And I just observed and watched them and went, there's something here. There's some way, somehow, I've got to get them to buy into something bigger. Whether that is you can be on staff or will you just help more? And what I learned was, just recasting the vision to them, letting them feel important, knowing that, hey, I have a place here and that I'm fulfilling what God's called me to do. And just letting them run with it. Hey, here's I like to use like guardrails on an interstate. Here's the guardrails. You've got 3 to 5 lanes. Run or drive fast, drive slow, whatever it may be, however you want to do it, just stay within the guardrails and make it happen. And then just relinquishing control and letting them do it. That turned into a year of those two leaders, married couple, running at it, doing such a high level, leading at such a high level as a volunteer that eventually led them to being hired and being on staff.
Wow.
And now they're it's amazing. It's amazing because nothing's changed. It's actually increased. Well, now I'm on staff and I'm paid for something that I feel like God's called me to do. That passion didn't go away. It increased even more to now where it's like all lanes are the fast lane.
So the first step, it sounds like, was just surveying the land.
Yes.
Just having your eyes open to the people that God has already gifted, called, equipped, mobilized, given experience to, etc. And positioning yourself to say, okay, God, who are you already preparing for this? There's a really interesting book called Who, Not How. When a leader faces a circumstance, instead of saying, how do I overcome this? We should instead start asking, God, who have you placed in my life to accomplish this? Because I can't be the who for every problem.
Right.
I have to be a leader for the context that you've called me to, but I need to identify who God has already called and equipped around me to figure out that who have those gifts and those talents.
Right.
Well, how did you know to do that? Like what gave you the insight to say, let me just start watching?
Yeah, I mean, some of it was stuff that was modeled for me.
Okay.
I remember being in high school and being part of a youth group, and my youth pastor saying like, "Hey, you play an instrument?" And I'm like, "Yeah." "How did you know that?" "Well, I saw a picture." And him
Mm.
just saying, "What do you think about leading worship?" You know, it started with him observing, seeing something, and
Yeah.
then it led to me going, "Oh, I can do this." Like, and now you want me to.
Mhm.
So it was modeled for me at a young age. I'll say this, just to go back to what you said a minute ago. You know, when when we're looking around, I think sometimes the natural thing for a leader to do is who can I bring in to help?
Mhm.
And you said it, and I loved it. Who's already there?
Mhm.
There's people already there that are waiting
Yeah.
for you to say, "Hey, why don't you do a little bit more? Why don't you just get a hold of this vision and just run? I see what you're doing." They're waiting for someone to tap on the shoulder and go, "I see that God's gifted you in this area. I see that you have a passion for kids to come to know Jesus. How would you feel about doing that at a higher level?"
Mm.
They're just waiting.
Yeah.
And I love that. What we said, they're already there. People are there. God's already put them there. And that's so true.
You know, so the leader in my mind uh, could feel two different things. They might sit there feeling right now like, well, I don't want to burden somebody else
Hmm.
with this problem, right? I feel the burden of that ministry or that task or whatever, and I don't want to burden somebody else. What would you say to that person who feels that way?
Man, I would say a burden for you may feel like a ministry opportunity for someone else,
Mm,
or an opportunity. Maybe it's not ministry, whatever that leadership context is. But a burden for you is an opportunity for someone else,
wow.
and they might not be looking at the same way that you're looking at it. I think burdens come from the leader when it's like, I'm doing too many things. So
Mhm.
this task or this thing that I'm overseeing does feel like a burden. Well, your hand's in too many different things.
Yeah.
So that burden is just an opportunity for someone else to rise to the occasion. That's what I would say.
No, that's so good, right? My burden could be somebody else's blessing, because he does. I'm maybe a foot. Well, there's a lot of things that I could do as a foot, but the hand might be better at it,
Right.
right? And so there's an interesting, important part to that purpose and that role as a leader, right? We teach that visionary leaders mobilize the body of Christ. That's
Mhm.
part of leadership, is that you've actually got to mobilize the body, which means presenting those opportunities, making those opportunities clear,
Right.
and then allowing the Lord to call those people out of their current context into that thing, because they go, oh, I have that calling, right?
Yeah.
You and I may not be accountants. We may not like numbers. We may not feel comfortable there, but there's somebody in
Right.
our congregation, there's somebody in our business that has that gift, that has that talent, that
Right.
loves the minutia in the detail, and they want to go through a checklist, and they
Right.
want to make sure the audit comes out clean, and they want to, serve as a controller for the organization. Well, gosh, we need to mobilize those people
Right.
to be a part of that, because the body needs those people.
Yeah. I think too with when you're talking about leaderships and transition, uh, not everything. One of the things that I learned was not everything has to be a paid thing either. There's
Mhm.
people that just want to lead,
Yeah,
that
man.
just that, and they're gifted and called to do it in an area that you won't. At our church, we have uh, volunteer leaders from everything from a door greeter,
Mhm.
opening the door, to someone hosting you to find a seat, checking in your kids. And one of the things that we say is, hey, man, coming to know Jesus starts in the parking lot.
Mhm.
Being a part of the family of God, it starts with the door greeter.
Sure.
You shook a hand and you smiled, you let someone feel warm. That's leadership.
There you go.
And in equipping those type of people um, during a transition and saying, hey, you matter, standing at the door,
Yeah.
you matter, walking someone to their seat, equipping volunteers to understand and know that this is leadership. Man, it does nothing but propel whatever organization, church, ministry that you're in. It will propel it forward 100%.
Man, I love that. So, first step in the transition, I'm looking for leadership. I'm going to open my eyes. I'm going to see who God has around me.
Yeah.
Okay, so uh, here's my next question. I start seeing these people. They start doing it. But darn it all, Drew, it's not as good as I could do it.
Yeah.
Okay. How do I overcome that feeling, man?
Yeah.
There's going to be certainly some part of that that's probably pride or arrogance.
Yeah.
And you know what? Okay, Lord, humble me, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, God, remove that from me. But then there's some parts of that might even be true.
Yep.
Right? How do you get over that hump, man?
Yeah. Man, it's I have two small kids at home,
Mhm.
and I can ask both of them, to feed and water the dog
Mhm.
and take care of the cat and the litter box and all that. And every single time I'm going to go in there and I go, well, I could do this cleaner. I could do this faster. And I
Yep.
could do it better.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I'm teaching and hoping that they understand is, okay, the dog and the cat, they got to have food. They got to be taken care of.
Right.
There's a saying, I think Craig Groeschel says it, that if a leader can do something 75% as good as you, release them to do it. That's hard because we say, oh, they're not doing it 100% the way I would do it, and I would do it better. But at some point, as a leader in any type of transition, you're training and teaching and modeling other people to do what it is that you have done, what it is that you want to see. And every opportunity that comes has an opportunity to be coached. I can coach you.
Yeah.
I can coach you on the 50, the 75%. I can do it better. Well, just because you can do it better doesn't mean that you should.
Mm-hmm.
You want to equip people, and if they're doing it 75% as good as you are, take an opportunity to coach. Hey, next time you do that, here's maybe try doing it this way. Might be more beneficial.
Right.
It may help, things like that. I just look for opportunities. And sometimes I just had to just go, okay, it's not a coachable moment right now.
Yeah.
It's more of I'm just going to watch and allow that moment to come naturally.
I mean, that's such a good word. I believe the most faithful Christian leaders are multiplying leaders.
Yeah.
Right. They're not just a leader themselves. They're actually developing other leaders in order for the whole body to be stronger and better equipped. And I think in my life, and I presume the same in yours, people took risks.
Yeah.
Right. They gave me leadership when I probably didn't deserve it. And, and I was way underprepared and all of those things. But you know what? Each of those opportunities provided me the opportunity to grow. Right. And I think through at different times I've had the chance to allow somebody to do it maybe 75% or maybe 50%. It's not that they didn't have a desire to do it with excellence, but it was the going up and doing it and then watching it only come out at 50%. Yeah. They could sit there. I didn't have to say, hey, do this better, do this better, do this better. They came to me and said, hey, I should have done this better, this better, and this better. But they're not going to know that until they actually have the opportunity to sit in that seat, to do that thing. Yeah. Whether that's preach and teach, whether that's, a new project proposal in the organization or the business. Maybe it's a relationship for a partner or a funder or whatever. Giving them that opportunity, really, so that they can even analyze themselves to say, "Oh, this is where I could improve." Yeah, such an important part of that process.
We have a practice that we do in training volunteers, and it's an ongoing practice that we're trying to perfect, if you will. But here's what we do: we say, "All right, you want to learn how to run sound. Well, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to come and sit with me and watch me do it this week." Mm-hmm. Next week, I'm gonna show you how to do things. I'm gonna ask you to do things, and I'm gonna watch. And then the following week, I'm gonna release you to do it all, and I'm gonna sit back and just answer any questions you have. But it's just this process of watch me, then I watch you, then I release you. And I think as a leader training anyone, whether it's a paid staff person or a volunteer, that idea of watch me, let me model it for you. Now I'm going to watch you, ask questions, and then I'm going to release you. It allows people to feel this like, okay, I know how he or she wants it done or how it's supposed to be done. I know the areas, to your point earlier, that I didn't do so well, and I know I got to adjust, but I can ask questions. I can go to the leader and say, hey, here's what I did wrong. What do you think? It's so beneficial.
Man, I love that. I love that. Very simple. Watch me. I'm going to watch you, and then I'm going to release you. Yeah. An incredible, simple but clear process for letting somebody kind of go and do that. And I think as leaders, man, there's so much that we can do to intentionally allow people to watch us lead in moments they might otherwise not watch. Yeah. Right. I think through some of the moments where I've had, business owners allow me to participate in a thing that I had no business participating in, but they wanted me to see how they were leading. When I worked in politics, I watched some men and women of faith sit there and read the scriptures to one another, saying, "This is how God's word tells us to behave with this economic policy. We believe this is what." I was just told to sit in the back of the room and be quiet because they wanted me to watch what does leadership, biblical leadership, look like in that political context, right? I had never seen that. I'd never been, given an opportunity to see that. But by watching that, I then got to see, oh, wait a second. Okay. I've never seen it done that way. Now I've got some insight, and that helped to form me into a stronger leader to be able to respond to some of those moments. So, So we're in the midst of transition. I'm going to be saying, okay, God, who have you put around me?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to be having them watch. They're going to do it themselves, and then I'm going to release them to do it. What do I do when I start hitting that phase of life in transition where I need those leaders to themselves be leaders?
Yeah.
How do I help develop my people into leaders of leaders? How do I go through and intentionally develop that in their lives so that kind of growth and that kind of transition can be sustained in the long run?
Yeah. So what I have done and what we do as an organization is, man, we attach it all to the Word of God. Like, we're called to be fishers of men. We're called to go out and bring people with us, teach them, disciple them, and then do the same thing. We attach everything back to God's word.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, like, if we can't understand that, then we gotta start all the way over from the beginning.
Different conversation.
Yeah. But when we attach it to the word of God, this is what God's called not just a pastor, a teacher.
That's right.
He's called everyone to.
Right.
You are to be fishers of men. Make disciples is what we're called to do. So everything that I try to do is attach it back to that. Hey, now you've got someone in your seat, or you're here, you've got volunteers. How do you get those volunteers to go out and do the same thing and grab more? Well, you got to share the vision with them. You got to share the why. You got to share the how. Yeah. And you've got to do the same thing that I just did with you. I've got to show you. I'll do it. You watch. You do it. I watch. I release you. Sometimes it's harder than others because busyness, lives, it's just crazy. But keeping it attached to the Word of God, keeping it in front of people, this is a mandate for us as believers. This is what we're supposed to do. That's the key thing for us.
No, I love your heart there because you connect it back to discipleship, right? And that fishers of men, that making disciples, teaching them to obey all that Christ command.
Yep.
At ILI, that's often some of the tension that we live in. Is we develop leaders, we give a resource to help develop leaders of leaders. That's where we live. And it's a discipleship resource, right? Like, it's this thing that helps believers to live in that space and to live out that calling. But I think you're right? I think back to Paul's statement to Timothy in 2 Timothy 2:2, right? These things that you've heard me teach in the presence of many witnesses, entrust to faithful people who will be faithful to teach others also, right?
Yeah.
That kind of 4-generation approach, right? Yeah. And so I reflect on that, and I think there's an important and powerful part of the process where we say developing a leader is going to take place when I'm forced to develop a leader.
Yeah.
I actually am equally learning in the process of developing someone else, right? Even this very conversation, I learn as we're sitting here having a conversation in an effort to serve the leaders who are listening. There's actually more learning that I get in that process than if I was just out doing that myself. And so as I think through how do we lead through transition, what I'm thinking is, hey, there's a special opportunity as I see the who that God's already placed around me, as I show them, watch them, and release them. There's a special opportunity to come alongside them and help them to do that with someone else, because in doing so, they will then grow exponentially as a leader, right? The first Sunday school lesson you teach, the first small group lesson you teach is the one that you remember the deepest.
Yep.
Right. And so there's just, I don't know if this is true for you, but I know it's true for me. The first sermon I preached, I remember The burning bush,
absolutely.
Exodus, right? It was terrible. Man, it was so bad, dude. It was awful. But you know what? I've never forgotten that because I was forced into that position. And I think there's just something incredibly powerful about saying, hey, now that you're here, you now teach somebody else. You go through that exact same process with someone else, and it's going to better equip you to be a leader in that context.
Yeah.
And that's the discipleship process, right? That's entrusting to others what we have been entrusted with.
Yeah, the shaping and the molding, if you will. We break this down often at our church, but Jesus said, "Follow me, I will make you fishers of men."
Mm-hmm.
The three things he says there. One, follow me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to follow someone, that means, let's take it back to the days of MapQuest, right? Before MapQuest, before Google Maps, before Waze, before all that, if you're going to follow somebody anywhere, you got to be right behind them.
Yeah.
They're going to turn. And where do they turn? How do I get there? You gotta be with them. You gotta spend time with them. You're gonna follow them. And then he says, "I will make you." Well, that's language. He's shaping. He's forming us into something. That's the same thing we're doing with leaders. We're shaping and forming you into something Christ-like.
That's right.
We're shaping you to form you into be more like Christ. Fishers of men, man, to do what Jesus did. This is it. Follow me. I'll make you fishers of men. That's the context for our church. That's the context for leadership. And we try to implement that in everything that we do.
No, I love that. So we often talk about the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few.
Yeah.
Right. And you say fishers of men, right? That's the workers in the harvest field.
Yep.
Right. Well, in that scripture, as we look in Luke's version, Luke says, like, hey, pray to the Lord of the harvest that there be more workers in the harvest field.
Yeah.
Right. And then there's a chapter break.
Yeah.
But we know that when Luke wrote it, like there wasn't, Luke didn't put a chapter break in there. The next set of verses, they went out. Right. And so the beauty of this calling that we have as fishers of men, as workers in the harvest field, the beauty of the calling is he tells us to pray for it and then to be the answer to the prayer.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think there's something powerful that we need to remember. There is somebody praying for the leader that there's somebody praying for the leader that God is calling us to develop right now.
Yep.
Right. There's somebody who's saying, I need a children's minister to pour into my kid's life because they're not listening to me right now. Right. And you've got to go and equip that person to fulfill that calling because that's part of the harvest field that currently has no worker. But if you can equip them, they'll go into that harvest field and that part of the field will then be richly harvested for the kingdom.
Yeah.
And I think there's something beautiful there that's so easy to miss because I'll be honest, man, we step into a church, we step into our context. Man, I got 100 other things on my mind, right? Like this feels like that unimportant, or excuse me, the unurgent important thing, right? Like, I know I got to do that, but man, I got so many other urgent things, right? Well, I got to get the message prepped and we don't have, this issue is come up and, all of a sudden there's this thing going on over here in the parking lot. Like there's all these distractions.
Yeah.
So how have you, in the midst of all these transitions, how have you kept that important thing on your plate of saying, man, we are going to develop leaders so that when God brings the growth, we have the workers for the harvest field?
Well, man, you hit this, but I heard someone once say, never let the urgent become more important than the important. The urgents are always going to be there. Yeah. The things that are going to pop up. Well, the important things are, our church can't continue to grow. We can't continue to serve people without leaders. Yeah. That's an important thing, and it has to happen. One of the things that I do is we have a weekly staff meeting, and that's there every single time in our staff meeting. And not we got to do this, but it's who. Currently, right now, we have, including myself, there's 6 of us at our church, and we have a 3 to 5 rule is what we call it. 3 to 5 people that you're discipling. You, not. Well, my leaders are. No. Who are you, Drew?
There you go.
Who are you, so-and-so, leading and discipling? 3 to 5 people that you're pulling along. If we're not doing it, we can't ask or expect our church to do it. Yeah. Or any other person to do it. So that's at top of our staff meeting. Man, who you're 3 to 5? Yeah. And what's it look like? It's not you're grounded or you got an F because but what's that look like? Well, man, it looks like once a week I'm grabbing coffee and we're talking about life and whatever it is, but we're practicing that. We're modeling it for our people. We keep it elevated and an important thing in our own lives, and therefore it stays an important, elevated thing in our church, and we're going to keep it in front of people.
Man, I love that. What an incredible heart to say, hey, look, again, at the end of the day, we're going to walk it. We're going to live it. And that's really the way of Jesus, right? He said, follow me, right? Watch what I'm doing. Walk with me and you'll see.
Yeah.
And such an incredible testimony and kind of example. So Drew, man, thank you so much for what you're doing. Thank you for what your church is doing, the impact that I know it's making in families in that community. Man, I'm excited to see the revival that God's going to bring through Bremen, Georgia. And whether that's Bremen, Georgia, Bremen, Germany, Georgia in the U.S., or Georgia, the country. We want to see the gospel accelerate to the ends of the earth, man.
That's right.
And that's an incredible, incredible joy to hear how you guys are again, putting the hands to the plow, keeping those workers in the harvest field and making fishers of men. Thank you for what you're doing, man. It's making a difference.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. Listen, if you are a leader that has listened to this has been helpful to you, I want to ask for a small favor. Would you subscribe? Would you share this with somebody else that you know is going through transition and maybe they're going, gosh, I've got to find some ways to lead more effectively. I really believe there's some great little nuggets here. Listen, just if you only walk away with one thing, help people who are 75% of the way there get the opportunity to do it. That's how growth is going to happen. Watch them, do it with them, and then release them and trust God to bring the growth that is ultimately needed. If you're looking for leadership resources, I want to encourage you, check out iliteam.org. You'll find some good things there. Thank you so much for joining us.